Welcome to the Smart CEO Smart Chat. I am Kyra Hardwick, and I am thrilled to be here with you. Thanks for tuning in. We hope that this episode will be an incredible influence on the way that you do the work that you do every day. So whether you're a smart CEO, working from home, working from the office, simply navigating your life and family, whatever it is, today's the day you made a great decision to tune into our podcast and get this smart talk. So let's dig in.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the Smart CEO podcast. I am today's host, Alina Conley, and I am the program manager for the Smart CEO Capacity Builder cohort. I am also the senior director for the Coaching and People Development Division at the Kyra Company. And today I am joined by one of our very own cohort members, Vanessa Garcia. She is the CEO of Performant Scout. Welcome to the show, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just start with learning a little bit more about your journey into entrepreneurship. So how did you decide that you wanted to take this vivacious path versus one of the more consistent, risk-free 9-to-5 paths?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a perfect storm. I had been working in the recruiting and executive search industry for several years with another firm, with various firms. But at the time that it became evident that it was good timing to branch out and launch my company, I had the perfect business partner at the time. You know, we worked together for about 4.5 years at another boutique firm, and we just hit it off. And there was just some changes going on with that company at the time, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I had in working for that company. But I also had some life changes. I had a daughter, and I think in the back of my mind, I had always thought about going into entrepreneurship and launching a business and really thinking about what I want to accomplish professionally and a legacy. So I went on maternity leave from that company for about 4 months. And within that time, it became clear that the timing was going to be right to launch Performant Scout. And so I fondly recall that time in my life as having 2 babies that year. And so it was a lot of change. It was just a lot of change at once, but it was really exciting and the most transformative experience I've had in my career to date.
Wow. So speaking of having that transition with going on to maternity leave, having 2 babies, that is a very common story, especially nowadays where the work environment per se has changed and we do see more moms working from home, creating their businesses online. And so talk to me a little bit about how you've been able to manage your career while being a mother.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not easy. I think as women in business, we carry a lot more than we were ever meant to. So much has changed in terms of the landscape, in terms of who's in the workforce, who the breadwinners in the family, who's creating that generational wealth. And it just became really important to me to think bigger in terms of what I want to show my children from a young age in terms of what they can accomplish. And my path and my dream has definitely been different from my upbringing. I come from a very traditional upbringing. My father was a breadwinner. My mother took care of the children mainly. And I'm first generation in this country. So there was just a lot of tradition and a lot of love and support, but I went to college. I was one of the first few in my family to go to college. And so I think I carried this immense sense of responsibility to capitalize on the opportunities that my parents forged this path for me to accomplish, to go down. And although I cherish how I was brought up, dinner on the table every night, and I am so grateful for the solid foundation in terms of an example of a relationship that I grew up with. For me, I'm definitely someone who focuses on my children first, my business as well. But I really lean on my support system, my fellow entrepreneurs, and really just I seek help when I need it in terms of really being able to balance ensuring that my kids need to get where they need to get. I'm still able to keep my meetings and build my business and all of those things. It just looks a little bit different than what I was used to growing up. I really feel grateful just for the network that I have that I can lean on, because I'm definitely not one that will say that I was able to do this on my own. It definitely takes a village. And I've definitely leaned on that village to be able to be successful and build the company. And we've gone through a lot of change too. My business partner, after 9 years, retired in the spring. And so I bought her out. And so my workload changed exponentially as well. So I've had to adjust even more to ensure that I'm present with my children, which is deeply important to me, but also I'm empowered to continue to build this business that I have the opportunity to build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, that really is a great segue into what I was going to ask you next or point out next, which is sometimes as we become mothers, we start to diminish our capabilities. But I really admire how you didn't just skate into what you're currently doing and sustaining the business. You bought it out and you're growing it. So one of the things that is unique about this cohort is this is our first group that's really focused on growth stage businesses, right? And really starting to enterprise and take it to the next level. And with you having a ton of experience prior to the business, working with a phenomenal partner before,
Right.
and now having to fill these big shoes, what is the vision that you have for the agency, say, over the next 3 years or so?
It's a really exciting time. I will say that, so just to talk a little bit about our scope, we place executive level talent across the country in industry diverse clients. And with that said, a lot of our searches are all over the country, many of them international, Canada, Mexico, still North America, but Canada, Mexico, and then, some as well. And so we haven't necessarily had a concentration on our backyard in Phoenix. And so what's become evident for me is how can I continue to support the community and be more connected to my community, in addition to, so I'm involved with a number of nonprofit efforts, which is incredibly fulfilling. How can I mesh the two and be even more entrenched and more of an asset as a Latina business owner right in my backyard? Once we completed the buyout in May, it became one of our top initiatives, which is to continue to build out our relationships, our network right here in the Phoenix Valley. That's been really exciting. And we've had, even just in this short few months, 6 months or so that it's been, we've had some really good success. And I think for me, working smarter versus harder and being in the right places, being introduced to kind of groups of networks versus picking up the phone and cold calling, that traditional outdated way of going about building business, I really challenged myself and leaned on a business executive coach as well to think about, okay, how can I really showcase Performant Scout and really highlight Performant Scout in a way where I'm reaching a wider audience? And so that's been fun to explore. We've had success. We have some new clients in the last few months right here in our backyard. We really love to see those sorts of efforts come to fruition since May.
Yeah, that's incredible. So when I think about even the last 6 weeks, right, and your involvement and having this even network with your cohort, we have these 3 pillars that we've really leaned on. So we have collaboration, which you've spoken about, bankability, supply chain readiness, and then all of the subject matters that we touched on. If someone is listening right now and they're really trying to understand a little bit about the program and whether they should apply, what were some things that really grabbed hold of you that you think would be worth sharing about your experience to them?
So I think one of the initial challenges that I came to the cohort with was I'm still very much in the day-to-day, in the weeds a little bit, where I have been really excited to transition my experience and my focus into working on the business from a strategic standpoint versus in the business, right? That day-to-day. And so I really took away some really great nuggets in terms of, okay, I was given an assignment to create a job description of my ideal job description, and then a job description where these are the things that either take too much time, or I don't need to be doing, or I can outsource, or the things I just don't like to do. We all have things within our function that we do not enjoy doing. And that has been an interesting assignment, because basically the assignment is the items that you want to focus on, you need to prioritize them and set yourself up in order to execute those things. And so it became clear to me that I need to hire another person. I hired 2 people before coming into the cohort, and I'm like, okay. And I think what my hesitancy in that is that, okay, I bought my partner out in May, big investment, money and time. And then I hired 2 people. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're keeping up. We're doing well. And then the program really unveiled that I need to hire yet another person. I think my biggest piece of advice is high risk, high reward, right? You have to go for it. You got to swing for the fences and know that in these sorts of environments, you have a support system that you can lean on. They can be your sounding board. You might be faced with some action items that are really scary, some things that are hard to look at, things in the mirror. The advice and the guidance has been really eye-opening in terms of what needs to be done in order to really achieve your goals. And I think the other thing too is the being able to really measure. Right. If you're not tracking, what you're doing, you're not able to measure it, and you're not able to analyze where the gaps are, where the improvements are, where the opportunities are to identify to take the business to the next level. So I'd probably say those 2 items stand out the most.
Yeah. Yeah, you're actually the first one that brought up the metrics, and that's something that we implemented that was new in this cohort was for every section, we identified KPIs that you all could measure your learnings, which I thought was really great. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much for your contribution to the cohort. For those of you all that are listening that want to be surrounded by smart CEOs like Vanessa, we encourage you to join our online community on Mighty Networks called the Smart CEO Community, which you can learn more about at smartceos.com. And we want to thank you for listening today. And thank you again, Vanessa, for dropping your gems and sharing more about your business.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Saturday as well.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Smart Chat. Smart CEOs, you are on your way. We hope this episode has been fantastic for you. We are excited that you were here. So here's the deal. Follow us on all of our social media, look up the Kyra Company, and join us on all of our private platforms. We invite you to join our private Facebook group at the Smart CEOs. Jump in, join the conversation, and learn more about what we can do every day to grow our business and grow our community. Thanks so much for joining us. We're excited that you were here. Once again, I'm Kyra Hardwick, and you know it. I was thrilled to bring the Smart Chat to you. Take care. Talk to you soon.